Dominic sent me a treat. These are the Nano Hone stones from Hap Stanley, as well as his diamond lapping plate. They really promote the hell out of their diamond lapping plates, and they talk about how flat they can get them, which is all fine and good if you're trying to sharpen on a diamond plate. But this is intended for lapping your sharpening stones. So the issues I found with this is, number one, is how narrow it is. It doesn't cover the full stone, so you have to go back and forth with it to lap it evenly. That can actually create a cockeyed diagonal kind of shape to your stone if you're not doing it even. The other issue I have with it is the price. This plate costs $180. However, they have several more. One's at $3.99, another's at $4.99. And those prices are ridiculous. And the reason they're so damn expensive is because of how flat they are. Now, like I said, if you're sharpening on a diamond plate, that's all fine and good. But what you're doing here is you're lapping a sharpening stone. Once you get this thing lapped and run your knife across it 4 or 5 times, it's going to have a divot. It's going to have a high and low spot. That's the way sharpening stones work. That's what makes them cut so fast. They're friable. So having a flattening stone this flat is kind of superfluous in my opinion. I mean, you want your stone flat, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to go to a $400 extreme plate to get a flat stone, which is going to go out of flat as soon as you use it. Just my opinion. The 6K is like $98. The 1K is like $62. And the 400 grit's like 50 something. So you're looking at, I don't know, 300 and some odd dollars right here in just sharpening stones. These have a metal backing on them like Sharpening glass. You know, where Sharpening glass uses glass, these have an aluminum backing. They have these little pinholes because they're designed to go into a stone stand that they also sell. That stand by itself is like $180. It just seems to me like they're nickel and diamond stuff. They got a portable sharpening station, which is basically like a TV tray. I asked Hap how much they cost, and he said he can make me one for roughly $350. I about fell out of my chair when he said that. I like the idea, I like the concept. There's no way in heck I'm paying $350 for a portable sharpening stand that's basically a TV tray. It ain't happening. I wanted to check these stones out because when I seen them released, I knew Hap from Sharpening glass. I think he helped design those stones. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know he helped design the diamond lapping plate. Now the thing about that plate is it supposedly grooms the surface of your Sharpening glass stones and actually conditions them. I think this stone does the exact same thing. I haven't sharpened on these stones yet, so I'll be able to tell once I get started. I'm going to use a CRKT Ripple. This is 440 Acuto steel, which is basically just like 440C. We're going to use that. It's just a simple steel to get started, and then I'm going to come back with probably 20 CV in another video and test these stones out. Once I'm done, I'm going to send these off to Iheart Knives. If you guys don't know who he is, I'll put a link in the channel. I believe he's got a giveaway going on, so definitely give him a look. But I'm going to send these off to him so he can get a little time with them before they go back to Dom. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get this guy ready to rock. Then I can get an opinion of how these stones work, how they feel. As far as the thickness of the stone goes, you do get more stone than the Sharpening glass. This top stone is the Sharpening glass, the bottom stone is the Nano Hone. So it's almost double, maybe triple the size. And it's about double the size of a Sharpening glass. So you are getting more stone than you will the Sharpening. So we're going to start on the 400 grit stone, and all the information is on the back of these aluminum plates. It is a 35 micron stone. You've got the 400 grit range, Nano Hone, designed and built by Hap Stanley. And then they've got Nano Hone's web address down here. They are splash and go. You don't want to soak these. If I had to guess, these are pretty much like Sharpen glass. If I had to guess, they're probably manufactured by Sharpen. I'd cut the edge off. I'm not sure if I'm going to reprofile this or not. I have no idea where this edge and angle is set, so I'm just going to go with what feels right, and if it reprofiles, it reprofiles. So 400 grit, guess what it feels like? Feels like a 500 grit Sharpen glass. I added a sharpening notch to this Ripple. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of them, but down here in the base it's a big old mess. It took me about, I think, 3 hours, something like that, using a needle diamond file. Not a fun experience. I don't recommend it unless you absolutely have to have it. I've already got a burr built up in the tip and a little bit in this belly area. The stone is hard. Plenty of feedback. If you ever use Sharpen glass, I mean, it really does feel like the Sharpen 500. It's got that little bit of friability, but you know it's a really hard stone, really dense. This has all those characteristics. Alright, I've got a burr everywhere but right in here. There we go. So this still seems to sharpen really well. I'm going to throw in an insert showing the lapping of one of these stones with the Nano Hone diamond plate. So the ends are lower than the rest of the stone. I'm going to stop here because I don't want to grind away all this stone just to reach this little spot right here. I stated at the end of that video that I didn't lap the entire stone because the ends of the stones are always neglected, so there's no need to take off all the material from the middle of the stone just to get the ends flat. If Iheart Knives or Dom want to do that, I'll let them do it. I don't want to waste that much abrasive. I wouldn't do it on my own personal stones. I'm not going to do it on someone else's. Dom also sent me a Paramilitary 2 and Rex 45 steel. Told me I could sharpen it. I've been curious to try that out ever since I got my hands on Maximate. I've been wanting to try all those exotic steels. Still see some scratches right here in the belly. Now this knife has, of course, a Ken Onion design. It's got a really weird curve right in here. It's almost like a recurve. So I think my stone is having problems getting down into that area. So what I'm going to do to get there is I want to use the side of the stone. Just kind of angle the knife so I can get in there and get those scratches out. As you can see, there's a lot of buildup, but with just a little pressure from my fingers and rubbing, most of it comes off. Now there is some deeper in there, but for the most part, the stone's pretty much clean. Next up is the Goldstone. It is 15 micron. It's rated at 1000 grit. This one I'm really curious to see how it behaves. I've used more 1K stones than any other stone in my collection, so I'm very familiar with what most 1K stones feel like. We'll see how this one behaves. It does have the same feel as a sharpening glass, though it's just a tad softer, believe it or not. Yeah, the stone's just a hair more friable than the sharpening glass stone. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm getting some dry spots. It is absorbing some water, so the stone is a little porous. Hopefully that won't be a problem with cracking issues. Only time will tell, and hopefully Dom will keep me updated on that if it happens. I am impressed with how well that 400 grit kept its shape. I only had 2 low spots after sharpening on it, and they were very, very shallow. And just for giggles, we'll go ahead and flatten this one too, just to see how out of flat it is, and to give the diamond lapping plate a little use. Alright, this one you can see a little better. Where there's high and low spots, and this is what I was talking about. Although your diamond lapping plate is super flat, your stone's not going to stay that way. It's a marketing ploy. They make you think, oh my gosh, that is so flat, I gotta have one. When the reality is, your stone is not going to stay that way. As soon as you start using it, you're going to get some wear, and it's going to dish a little bit. It's just the way of the world. It's the way it works. Another interesting observation, where the stone was absorbing water, is creating these little discolorations. It's like the metal seeped into the stone's pores along with the water. And this is the final stone, 6000 grit. Like I said, I didn't lap down the very ends of the stone just because I don't want to waste all that material. The ends of the stone are the most neglected, so after a few sharpenings and lappings, it should all even out. Lots of feedback. Getting some build up. That'll help polish the bevel. This one actually reminds me kind of a toss-up between the 5K Sharpen Pro and the 8K Sharpen Glass. I've never used the Sharpen Glass 6K. It may be right on par with that one. I can only go by what I've already used. Another stone it feels like is the Norton 8K Waterstone. Feels very similar to that, although it's not as soft as the Norton. This is definitely a hard stone. You can tell it's dense underneath you. Hear that feedback as I go over angle. Need to stop that before I ruin my edge. When you see buildup like this, unless you've got a ton of scratches still in your bevel, don't wipe the buildup off. What this will do is create a burnishing effect and actually polish your bevel even more. So you want to leave that on your stone if you're going after a high luster like I always do. I don't know if you heard that screeching. It's definitely got feedback even with all this buildup. Let you know you're doing something wrong. To strop tonight, I'm going to use 2 micron CBN emulsion. Got a pretty nice polish. I'm not sure how well it's going to pick up. We'll test the edge real quick. $79. 102. And 69. So the edge results came out to an average of 83. I think that's partly because this is such a thin knife, not to mention it's a Acuto 40, which is really, really easy to sharpen. So what are my final thoughts on the Nano Hone stones? Well, first of all, the diamond lapping plate, I'd tell you to skip it. Get yourself a DMT plate or an Atoma plate. You're going to save a ton of money. They're going to do the exact same thing this plate does. As for the stones themselves, they are thicker than Sharpen glass, they pretty much feel just like shafting glass. So if you had your heart set on getting a set of those stones, I would tell you to take a look at these guys. They're about the same price. They're thicker. I see nothing wrong with them. They work well. I'm going to try some more knives on them to get a true feel for how they behave with other steels, but from what I'm seeing right now, they're excellent. I got no complaints. So the only issue I have is the price of this diamond plate and the marketing braggadocious way of saying how flat it is, you know. But you got to have a hook some kind of way. Everybody's out to make money, and they've got their hook with how flat these plates are. Anyway, guys, it's just my thoughts, my opinion. I encourage you to leave yours down below. I appreciate you guys watching. Y'all have a good one.